A senior vet who's worked in greyhound racing for decades says performance-enhancing drugs are widely used, but the industry says there's no credible evidence that dogs are being doped and races fixed. Also, for the first time, the industry has revealed that thousands of greyhounds are euthanased every year, mostly because they show no potential on the racetrack. Matthew Carney and Timothy McDonald with this special report.
Race, please.
Race 3.
How are you?
It's race day at Wentworth Park in Sydney. Before the greyhounds hit the track, a vet checks them over and the chief steward confirms their identities and weighs them in.
They're over a kilo from their last start, or under a kilo, then they'll be scratched.
Security is tight to make sure none of the dogs can be tampered with or doped. Greyhounds is a sport for battlers, and tonight is a big night, with $75,000 in prize money up for grabs.
It's exciting, it's quick, it's over in no time, then the next race is on. You can lose your money quicker.
There's not many places left in this town where the working man can come for a couple of dollars with his family and have a good night. So this is important for a city like Sydney.
Allegations of race fixing and doping have plagued the industry in the past, but the sport's governing body says it's a level playing field now.
Okay, number 3.
At the end of every race, the winner is swabbed and its urine tested for drugs.
Last financial year we took somewhere in the order of about 3,000 samples. We had 54 that were positive.
And what drugs were they?
75% of those were of therapeutic nature.
But there's a new drug, a performance enhancer that's difficult to detect and some say is in widespread use. It's EPO, the same drug that's shaken the cycling world and had Lance Armstrong stripped of 7 Tour de France wins.
There seemed to be a lot of illegal supply available, most of it channeled from human sources to the racing circles.
Ted Humphries was the on-track vet at Wentworth Park. He's worked with greyhounds for 42 years. Lately, he's been noticing dogs coming into his clinic with extremely high red blood cell counts. That carries more oxygen to the muscles and makes them go faster.
It's a very difficult job to get greyhounds really up to that perfect blood count, and EPO is a real help, and it can actually boost performance as it takes a bit over the top.
Ted Humphries says it's easy for trainers to hide EPO use. They can give it to their dogs several days before a race. Come race day and testing, the drug has gone, but the red blood cells remain up.
They do a lot of swabs, but there's never any blood taken from greyhounds. They're empowered to do it, but I can't recall ever taking a blood sample.
So you can't detect it through urine?
No, not normally.
Greyhound Racing New South Wales disputes this and says urine testing does pick up EPO usage. They also say they have a program for out-of-race testing.
We've been testing for EPO in greyhound urine samples for some time, over the last 2 years. We've done 400 specific tests for EPO, and in that time haven't come across a positive, and that's the same Australia-wide. No state to date has found EPO in a sample.
But the ABC spoke to one trainer who wanted to remain unidentified, who said EPO was in circulation and had witnessed other trainers injecting the drug into their dogs.
We don't have any credible intelligence which would support the assertion that EPO use is a significant issue in greyhound racing. So in the absence of that intelligence, we are comfortable with our current level of testing. We'll continue with that testing. That will continue to be random.
At the back of Ted Humphries' clinic, another industry secret is revealed. This dog is just 2 years old, and the E marked on its head means it will be euthanased, killed because it didn't run fast enough.
He was just too slow to be competitive. He's 2 seconds slower than he needs to be, which puts him about 100 metres behind the rest of the greyhounds. Some are like that. They just haven't got the athletic ability.
Some are put down because they've been injured on the track, but most are killed because they show no racing potential or have passed their prime on the track. For the first time, the industry has put a figure on the number of greyhounds euthanased each year, and it's big.
We believe at present it's around 3,000 greyhounds a year that are euthanased. We understand that number is a number which is too high, and we've set about putting in place a number of actions which will bring that number down to a level which is more acceptable.
Ted Humphrey says the figure is probably much higher. He puts down about 500 a year just at this clinic. The constant need to euthanase weighs heavily on him. He says here at least they can have a humane death, but left in the hands of some owners, dogs can suffer a cruel fate.
They do it inhumane. They shoot them, they hammer them, they throw them off bridges. I knew one particular person would hang them, so that would be...
So they'd hammer them? What do you mean? Literally, put a hammer on their head or something?
Yeah, bash them with a hammer.
The industry says it's improving the situation by supporting a growing adoption program for discarded greyhounds and training the dogs that do race as family pets. Matthew Carney, Late Line.